going on? Miguel Lloyd, host of Life Full Circle Radio. And so today we have a very special guest. We have Miss Elisabeth Carson. And so we're going to talk about quite a few things today. But we're going to talk about our platform. We're going to talk about growing up in the D and being an entrepreneur. Elisabeth, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, we out here in these internet streets. We got to make sure we connect and have these conversations as this is the new network. The new network is getting out here and connected with each other for sure. And so
Absolutely.
before we get started, make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. We can so you can get this content both on our platforms and the other platforms that are out there. And Miss Carson's platform is pretty big, so we want to make sure her audience gets to know LFC a little bit more too. So let's get started. Tell us about Elisabeth Carson. Tell us about who you are.
Well, whew, that's a deep question. There's so much to me. I don't know, where do I even start?
Hmm.
Well, I mean, I was born in Korea, South Korea, and
Okay.
came over to the States when I was 3 months old. I
Okay.
grew up in Lansing, Michigan, and moved to Detroit when I was about 17 years old. And then from there, I stayed in Detroit for a couple years, and then I was popping all over the country because I was
Hmm.
following my modeling and my acting career,
Okay.
and that was pretty successful for a while. I lived the Hollywood red carpet life. I was hosting parties in Hollywood, going to all the biggest events, and lived that entertainment life. It was fun. And then I kind of wanted to get more grounded, so I ended up coming back to Michigan, and I signed up for school, and I ended
Hmm.
up getting my culinary arts degree, and I ended up getting my baking and pastry certificate. So I started to work in that industry for a while, which is completely opposite of what I was doing. I mean, this was a clock in, clock out job. I was used
Yeah.
to my own schedule and just
Yeah.
floating around like a fairy.
Yeah. Yeah. Big difference between walking on the runway and someone telling you where you at and where's your sous chef and the whole nine, right?
Oh my God. You have to be so just obsessed with what you're doing when you're a chef because of
Hmm.
the amount of work, and just they don't let you sit down. I mean, I was working 10 to 14-hour days. And if you sat down, you would get something thrown at your head. Chefs and kitchens,
Yeah.
they're not a place to play. It's very,
Yeah.
very serious. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I did that for quite a long time. I think I was in the industry for about 5 years. And I worked at a couple really prestigious country clubs, and I opened up an award winning restaurant in Michigan.
Hmm.
And then I realized that clock in, clock out was not really my style.
Sure.
So I ended up getting my real estate license. And through that, I realized that I had a very big talent for building. And, I did really well in real estate, but I did better in building teams because I
Okay.
built a team with 30 agents underneath me. So we, did a whole bunch of deals in Michigan. I actually booked the most amount of offices in the shortest period of time in campaign history. I was helping a campaign go in Michigan. So
Hmm.
killed it in real estate. And
Okay.
so I did very well, and I made a lot of money. And I had a friend that had a mental health place, and I wanted to help him build that larger because I really believed in what that place offered.
Okay.
So I partnered with him, and we're going to franchise this mental health place all around the country. We ended up partnering with a couple celebrities. We
Hmm.
launched a podcast on the Earn Your Leisure network
Okay.
called Inner Wealth. That was about 5, 6 years ago now.
Okay.
And that is where I met my previous job that I currently just recently left. And I ended up leaving the mental health place and
Hmm.
moving to Florida. And I mean, whoever really knows me knows kind of what I've done for the past 4.5 years with the company I was just at. I
Hmm.
mean, I took that company and we went.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's back because you didn't took me through a nice journey here. So, starting off in the modeling industry and in movies, any recognizable movies or magazines that people would say, "Hey, well, what was she on? I recognize her." Well, tell us about some of that, a little bit of that journey.
Yes. So I was in a couple movies, 5 year engagement. I was in a show called Meet the Browns, Tyler Perry's Meet the
Okay.
Browns.
Okay.
Yep. I was, I did calendars. I was a video vixen.
Got it.
So I was on the top, five, and then 106 in Park. I
Sure.
was in a Swiss Beats video, Neo video. Back in the day, the
Yeah.
video vixen
Okay.
when the video vixens were kind of out there. That's
Yeah.
what I was
Well,
doing.
so and people, that's early entrepreneurship for you, right? You started off as a contractor. You were booking these gigs, and so tell us about, because here's the reason why I'm going there with this question. People will say, "Oh, she was a video vixen. She was just a pinup model, whatever." And so there's a lot of ladies who have gone through that process and they've built outstanding careers over the years. And just talk to us about that journey when you decided, okay, this is enough of this. I've kind of made my people know who I am now, and now I'm trying to make the move. Tell us about, one, when you decided to make that change, and two, how that kind of helped you as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, well, you know what? I've always had the hustle mentality ever since I was younger. I, started selling things when I was in high school. So I always had that type of hustle.
Hmm.
And what I realized really within the modeling industry and the video vixen industry is the amount of toxicity, to be
Yeah,
honest, within it.
true,
So using women to try, to sleep with women, if, it was just a bunch of that, just manipulation
true.
within that industry.
Yeah.
So really at the end of the day, I built my business as a model, but they didn't pay you a whole bunch of money because I got in right when everything started dropping. So
Okay.
nowadays, I think that they don't even get paid anymore. Women don't even get paid anymore for videos because so many people are doing it for free. So when
Mm,
I had first entered, I was getting a good amount for things, but then 6 months down the line, it was like I was getting like $500 to do a music video, and that's not enough to make a life out of.
right.
So ended up starting hosting parties, and that's when I got my calendar together and I did a calendar tour with Summer Bunnies. I don't know if you remember Buffy the Body back in the day,
I
but
do.
Summer Bunnies was big. Yes.
Should I admit that I know who Buffy the Body was? I remember Buffy the Body. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I love that woman. She was, she made it possible for voluptuous women to
Yeah.
be wanted in the industry. So
Hmm.
props to her. But
Hmm.
anyways, I realized that that industry, it couldn't sustain me, right?
Yeah.
So, and it was kind of, I fell into that life, the Hollywood life of
Sure.
parties and drugs and drinking, and just I got wrapped into the whole entertainment business, and I realized that I was spinning out, and I needed to get out and create some structure within my life, or else
Hmm.
I would end up, I don't know where I would have ended up. So that's when I made the decision. Okay, I'm falling too deep into these parties. Let me just
Hmm.
move back to Michigan, get centered, get grounded, and
Hmm.
add some structure to my life. So that's kind of what I did.
No, that's a great journey. So, and then so you left that industry, went straight into culinary arts, and so one thing we all have to do every day is eat. And
Yes.
so kind of how what does that? Is there any family connection there, that your love of food? And tell us about your love of food and how you started going there.
Yes, well, it's crazy because do you remember the tax breaks back in the day? Different cities would get tax breaks for
Hmm.
movies. So I
Hmm.
actually ended up moving to Baton Rouge, Louisiana for a
Okay.
while to shoot a movie, Video Girl.
Yep.
And so I was out there and I fell in love with Creole cooking. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And I needed to
Mm,
learn how to make it.
yeah.
So I started to really study recipes and started really cooking. And I'm like, wow, I really like this. This is
Hmm.
great. Let me
Hmm.
sign up for school. So, that's kind of how I fell in love with cooking. And then when
Yeah.
I joined school, I was like, this is amazing. I can make the most beautiful, amazing tasting food. And, I really, really enjoyed it. And what I really found out my love and passion was in pastry, because I'm
Hmm.
very detailed. I'm detail oriented. So pastry is like science. It's a bunch of science. You have to have exact measurements and you have to
Hmm.
multiply different ingredients to get a certain outcome. So it worked for my brain. I
Got
loved
it.
it.
Got it.
Decorating, I made beautiful pastries. So
Got it. No, that's that's pretty dope. So one thing I love about your where you came from and where you are now, obviously beautiful woman, and that is now we're in a game now where social media and beauty and fashion has been a great tool for women in entrepreneurship, right? And so let's talk about your current platform, what you're doing, and how I never fault a woman for using what the guy gave them as an asset, right? What you do after that is up to you. But talk to us about how women in entrepreneurship is kind of leveled, social media is kind of leveled the field a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I I could see both sides of using beauty and social media to really lift and lift your business in
Mm-hmm.
general. But I
Mm-hmm.
will say one thing, that the automatic judgment that a beautiful woman receives is like, oh, well, she's pretty, she's just a ditch. She doesn't know what she's doing. Or
Right.
you know, she can't do business because look at her, right?
Mm.
Because of these stigmas and these
Yeah.
stereotypes that we've labeled people. So it is a challenge sometimes, but I try not to focus too much on the challenges of it, because I'm very grateful for my life and my platform. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, not too long ago, I ended up leaving my last job and creating my own business, my own brand, which is so amazing for me because my whole life I've realized that I've kind of hid behind the other person and built their business for them,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even with real estate, I had a partner and I was
Okay.
helping him build his business and his inspection company. And then with the mental health thing, I was helping him build his mental health thing. And then with my last job, I was like stuck behind him building his thing. So this is the first time that I have been out naked as me, just
Yeah.
me, Elizabeth Carson,
Yeah.
and coming out with this brand, Elizabeth Unlimited, which is everything to me because so much so in my past, I have been stuck inside of a bubble that I can't talk about certain things. I can't be authentic in who I am. I always had to have a filter. So now I can speak about what I want to talk about and be open, honest, transparent, and just, dip into any subject matter that I feel like it. So I really appreciate, coming out and stepping out brand new and as just me, but it is a little bit scary
Mm-hmm.
because it's the first time in my life that I've done this, but I'm confident because I have helped so many businesses grow and thrive that I know I can do it for myself.
All right. I'm gonna get. I've heard something here several times. It sounds like male patriarchy. You feel may have held you back a little bit.
Yeah, well, you know what? I feel like this planet is a little bit unbalanced. I feel like there is a lot of toxic masculinity on the planet right now. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just me being transparent. I'm not
Sure.
trying to push down a man or dog a man by any means at all. But what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying is that we've lost divine feminine within the collective consciousness of the world. Why? Well, you see it manifesting all over the planet as wars, as fighting, as all of this aggression. It's like a woman. A
Mm-hmm.
woman is never going to be like, oh, we need to go to war and fight that to get this thing. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
not in our nature, right? So we've kind of just gotten unbalanced. The polarities off in the world, and I feel like it's creating toxic masculinity. So I feel like it's time for women, not in a toxic way, but to rise in their feminine power, not in the feminist way, but
Mm.
in the way
Well,
of,
what's the difference? Because people are gonna question that when you say what's the difference in what you're saying and being a feminist.
well, you know what? As a woman, you can sit up here and dog a man or dog masculinity or just talk crap about that in general, or you can try to blend with it. So, what I try to do and what I've done in my businesses before is blend masculinity and femininity inside of a business. And when you do that, you get the best of both worlds, right? You
Mm-hmm.
get the best of both worlds because
Mm-hmm.
what I'm missing, a man will have, and what a man is missing, a woman will have. So, it's appreciating the traits of each and trying to blend those together instead of saying one is better than the other and it shouldn't
Right.
be this way. It's a balance of each. And I think that within our bodies and within us as people, we have gotten imbalanced. Women have had to stay in their masculine energy more so because of men have kind of created that for us. So it's like we have to be hard and we have to
Mm.
lead and we have to do these things because a lot of women don't feel safe. A lot of women have to, step out, and a lot of women are working more days. They're executives, they're CEOs, they're entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And that leadership automatically pushes you into your masculine energy. And then on top of that, if you're in a relationship or a toxic family situation, I mean, those women really aren't coming back into their divine feminine. So it's really the fault of the man and the women. It's our fault that this polar universe is becoming imbalanced because it's for us to do the work on ourselves to create that perfect balance within us that can radiate out and create inspiration within others to do the same.
No, I see fully what you're coming from, because I do have concern. I have a wife, three daughters, so I don't have nothing but women around me, right? And so um, I do have a concern about not my children and my wife's ability to lead, is them getting in these scenarios, as you mentioned, where ultimately a physical confrontation with a woman and a man, 9 times out of 10, more than likely the man will win a physical confrontation, and you also have the intimidation factor. And so I'm training my kids up to be how to manage those. But I also say it's not good to try to keep men out of what you're doing, right? Like it's not good for men to keep women out of what they're doing, because we come in and we too rough and tough, and everything has got to be rah, 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 and someone needs to be in your ear saying, hey, how about we change the energy a little bit? So I guess my long diatribe there is just understanding. I understand the imbalance that you're talking about, because a lot of the women who say I don't need men for anything, and I don't agree with that, and I don't agree that men don't need women. I think we need each other, right? There is that balance. And your example about having that feminine and masculine energy is something that can you expound on that a little bit? I want to let you expound on that a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? In my own career, in my own business, I actually have a male as a manager, which helps me stay balanced within myself because women are emotional by nature, right? We
Hmm.
are ran by our emotions, by our feelings, by our intuition. We're the
Hmm.
flowy ones. We flow and we're, up and down, and we're more like this. This is how we roll through life. So
Hmm.
we need that masculine energy to kind of stabilize the emotions of a very flowy woman, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, that's why I make sure to have pretty much an even balance of men and women within my business because, like I said, it's a perfect match when you can get
Hmm.
the energies in alignment within your business and yourself. So, I just think it's important to try to understand the qualities of each energy. I mean, masculine energy is leadership, coming up with ideas, creativity, and
Hmm.
putting things into action, protection, and that is so important for a foundation,
Hmm.
which is why I was able to build all of these businesses so large because what a man lacks, a woman has. So, with a man building the foundation, a woman needs to put that foundation into action by doing what? Figuring out what details, right? Because
Hmm.
men's brains work front to back, completely different than a woman's brain. A woman's brain works side to side. Our corpus callosum is 25% bigger, which is the part of your brain that connects the two hemispheres. So,
Mm.
women are so much more detailed by nature than a man. So,
Mm.
what a perfect marriage is inside of a business is really the man coming up with the creation of whatever it is that he wants to build, and a woman kind of drawing backwards from that. Because a man will just rah, 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 go, 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 but will miss
Yep.
the details. And
Yep.
so he'll miss money, he'll miss, seeing intuition. Maybe he'll bring people that shouldn't be in the business into the business. I mean,
Hmm.
women feel these things. Our intuition is what drives us. So we're very, very quick and easy to see, hey, that person is in it for the wrong reasons, or
Hmm.
that person would be a perfect match for this project because they got all these qualities.
Yeah.
Women, I feel, rule the spiritual realm of earth, and men rule the physical realm. I
Mm.
really feel like that's, thought process and energy of each. And so it's very important, I feel like, to have both, to have both.
Fascinating, fascinating. That's something you're gonna have me studying a little bit more on that end. That's very interesting. All right, let's pivot a little bit. I saw on your social media that you're going through the fight of your life. Explain what that means to you.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So, throughout my life, I've had massive amounts of trauma that I have been able to climb my way out of. And, this is crazy. About 5 years ago, when I ended up leaving the mental health place I was working at,
Mm-hmm.
I had a toxic cycle that I was in. And
Mm.
so I got completely just shut out, canceled, and pushed out, right? And so I almost repeated that cycle this time. And so I got completely pushed into a different life that I never expected. This changed within hours. My life changed literally within hours. My dreams, my security, my job, my family, everything changed in a split second. like that. And I
Wow.
had to regroup and figure out, wow, okay, now what? Now what am I supposed to do with nobody, nothing, and nothing, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So that has been a struggle for me. But what I can say is that going through so many storms and so many fights in my life already, I have learned to be so resilient to things that come at me when I'm getting punched, right? So
Hmm.
resilient through all of the work that I've done
Hmm.
to bring myself back into optimization and just thought process, like a good one. I mean, when I was 19 years old, I came off a drug binge and I couldn't even finish a sentence. I couldn't even
Wow.
finish a sentence. And I always prided myself off of being extremely smart in school. I mean, I would skip all day and still ace everything. So I
Mm.
was always very smart. So
Sure.
I was so scared when I was 19 and I couldn't finish sentences. I had so much inflammation and so much brain fog. That's when I discovered biohacking. So that's when I brain trained for the first time and it kind of brought me back into consciousness. And, I healed myself through these things. So throughout my life, I've leaned into different tools, technologies, modalities, and meditations and different strategies to help my body get out of stress states and return into homeostasis, because then you can make conscious decisions when you're not freaking out, your body's not in fight or flight. When your body goes into fight or flight, your brain, the blood flow from your prefrontal cortex goes to your hindbrain, the reactionary brain. So your thoughts and your logical thinking goes offline.
Mm.
So when people are walking around in fight or flight, they're just walking reactions. They're not
Mm.
making a conscious decision
Hmm.
between stimulus and response. So that's
Hmm.
where the work comes in. You have to do the work on yourself so you can create space when you get triggered, so
Yeah.
you don't react.
Yeah.
You intentionally decide what you're going to do.
This it sound like what you call it a biohack. Is that what you referenced? Sound like
Yes.
you have some tools that you have in your toolbox for people to gives people a few tools on how to deal when they're dealing with the fight of their life.
Yes. So, what I have found that has helped me so much is really the simplistic things. I mean, I talk about a lot of really complex biohacks, but what I have found during this fight is such simplicity to heal yourself, which is sunlight,
Hmm.
walking outside, grounding, putting
Hmm.
your bare feet to the earth and sitting there is incredible, incredible. So grounding, I'm not talking about, and then you're sitting like trying to ground no, I'm literally talking about the transfer of negative ions from the earth's surface into your body. Our bodies need electrons to function properly. And when our body does not have enough electrons and the cells don't have enough electrons, it's like a magnet, North Pole, South Pole, gets stuck together. So think about your red blood cells.
Hmm.
If they don't have enough electrons around surrounding the cell, then your red blood cells are going to get stuck together. And then you're going to have really thick blood and your circulation isn't going to be as good. So when you ground, now your body sucks up all the electrons and all your cells now have enough negative ions surrounding it. So now it's like South Pole, South Pole. Now cells are bouncing off of each other and your circulation is coming back.
Hmm.
This is amazing because it is impossible to be chronically inflamed when you're grounded. So, what does that mean? Well, the basis of all autoimmune disease is inflammation.
Hmm.
So, when you're grounded, it's impossible, again, to be chronically inflamed. I mean, acute inflammation, you need it if you get cut or stabbed. Obviously, you need to
Right.
have acute inflammation to survive,
Right.
but you do not need chronic inflammation.
Wow.
So, when you ground outside underneath the sun, you let the sun hit your skin, you're connecting to the earth's surface, you can literally feel your stress hormones go down. You can feel your nervous system down regulating and you
Hmm.
can breathe again. I mean, this is incredible stuff. I challenge people to do this a week straight, 20 minutes a day, and watch
Hmm.
how their life completely changes. Completely changes.
Great conversation, man. A lot of things that you're talking about. Obviously, a lot of us know, but there's other things that people are not putting into their lives. You have folks who, social media is pushing the beauty initiative, they're pushing the weight loss initiatives, all of these things, and a lot of people don't understand. Maintaining your health, your aesthetic, your outward aesthetic, has a lot of times. has something to do with what you're doing inwardly and what your practices are on a day-to-day basis, right?
Yes. Oh my God. I think that that's all it is. That's
Yeah.
all it is. Whatever is inside creates your reality on the outside. So
Yeah.
what you're looking at today is what is in your mind, right?
Sure.
Is your mind clean? Is it focused? Is it driven? Or is it dirty? Is it confused? Is it, are you looking down on yourself? Everything from the inside manifests outwardly. So I feel like it's so important to do the inner work because that's really all that matters. I mean, I
Yeah.
really can think my way into almost changing your physical body. I
Mm.
mean, I think that I'm in shape. I think that I look good and I got a six pack and I'm going to always have that, right? That's my
Mm-hmm.
thought. That's my deep belief system within the root of who I am.
Sure.
So if I believe that, then outwardly, I feel like it manifests.
Sure. Unlimited with Elizabeth Carson, the podcast. Talk to us about that. Yeah, has it launched yet? I think you said it's on its way, or has it launched? And kind of tell us about what you're doing with that podcast.
Yes, it's launched. I launched it actually last week.
Mm.
And I did an episode kind of introducing myself, authentic and true, like I never have before, because like I said, I've always had a filter. So I just came on the first episode and talked about some of my life and the struggles and the wins that I've had. And then we dropped an episode last Sunday with Dr. Amy Kirby, and I talked to her about 40 Years of Zen, which is Dave
Mm-hmm.
Asprey's retreat program. It's like a deep, intense meditation retreat that rewires your brain. And oh my God, it was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. So
Mm-hmm.
Amy and I spoke about that because Amy was actually inside of my group. You go through as groups, like a 3-person group, and then there's a 3-person group that separates. So there's
Mm-hmm.
2 floors to the house. So
Mm-hmm.
one group will go upstairs and one group will stay downstairs. So she was
Okay.
in my group, and we both had an incredible, just profound experience. So we talked about that.
Was
And
this
then
some sort of retreat or something? I might be missing something. Was this a retreat of some sort, or what was that? Okay.
yes, yes,
Okay.
sorry, let me clarify. So 40 Years of Zen is a 5-day retreat that Dave Asprey, he's like the godfather of biohacking. He actually
Mm-hmm.
invented the word.
Mm-hmm.
But it's his program.
Okay.
So what you do during that program is you go and do intense meditation. You rewire parts of your brain through neurofeedback. You actually work with a neuroscientist that creates a specific protocol from a brain map that you get on the first day. So you'll
Mm-hmm.
see what parts of your brain are acting and functioning optimally and what parts maybe need some help.
Mm-hmm.
So the neuroscientist actually tailors a brain training protocol for you. So
Okay.
you're brain training every day as well as meditating. And then during the week that I went was a ketamine assisted week. So we did ketamine as well as all of this neurofeedback, all of this brain training. And ketamine, is very, very good for neuroplasticity. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason why they wanted it to be part of, the program if people so choose to use a ketamine assisted week. Now, I thought it was amazing. And I have noticed resilience like no other since I went there, which is crazy because I wasn't going to go in March. I was not going
Mm-hmm.
to go. But
Mm-hmm.
something told me, pull this trigger. You need to go. Pull the
Mm-hmm.
trigger. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I'm just going to go. And I decided 3 days before that I was going to go do this. And I
Mm-hmm.
went through the program. And then I get home, right? 2
Mm-hmm.
weeks later, boom, the storm hits me.
Oh
The
wow.
storm hits.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I went to that program, prepared my body and my brain to go through what I'm going through right now, that, it's not taking me down. It's not going to take me down. I'm not going to fall into victim mentality. I feel like my resilience and drive is so much stronger because of that program.
Mm.
So thank you to 40 Years of Zen. I plan on going back. I would recommend it for anybody at all. I am actually affiliate of the program. If you guys want to look it up, visit my link, and you'll get $2,000 off. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I wish this program was affordable for everybody because it is so effective. It is so incredibly effective. And the tools that you leave with is like life changing,
Okay.
life changing.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very, very expensive. It is very expensive. But you know what? I think we prioritize sometimes the wrong things.
Oh yeah.
We'll go out and spend $300 on drinks at a club night, right? But we won't
Right.
put that $300 away for maybe let's go to a flotation therapy session and get our bodies back into homeostasis and feel better, right? We don't think about these things. It's
Mm-hmm.
prioritizing what's important for you. And if
Mm-hmm.
there's a program that's expensive, but it'll change your life and it'll optimize you and it'll help you make more money in the future, then
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's something you should put money away for instead of, spending the money on the weekends for drinks or spending the money, for doing whatever it is that you do.
Yeah. 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 Great conversation, man. So, last thing I heard you're gonna be in Atlanta soon. I know it's all the little secrets and all this type of stuff. So you let folks know what you're doing and let them know how for special people they can find out where you're gonna be here in Atlanta here real soon.
Yes, so I'm so excited. It is my first event on my own. I'm nervous, but I'm so, so excited.
Yeah.
I will be in Atlanta June 8th, and we'll be downtown, and I'm hosting a VIP meet and greet. And this really is what I'm calling it is a sacred circle of deep inner healing, because
Mm.
that's what I want to create for the people that come. So
Mm.
I want this to be such a safe space for me to engage. So I've done events before, tons of events. People have seen me all over the place. But what I noticed about the events that I used to do is it didn't really one-on-one engage with the people. The
Mm-hmm.
events were too big. I couldn't talk
Mm-hmm.
to each person. I couldn't coach each person and really feel their energy and help them go through what maybe they are going through a storm too. So
Right.
what I wanted to do with my events is make my events smaller, so I'm able to one on one with people, feel people, and just pour into people.
Mm-hmm.
So, it starts at 4:30. We'll start off with just engaging, getting to know everybody, and then we'll do a deep meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to go around the circle of people and really just share and see, what's coming up for people. Are you in your storm? Are you in a storm? And just engage a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And engage with the group and see, how I can assist with any issues that anyone may be going through. Because one good thing about me is that I've probably been through all the trauma that you could possibly probably think of in life, except for a couple things. So
Mm-hmm.
usually if someone is going through something, I've probably been there, done that. So I could probably
Yeah.
speak on it or
Yeah.
something similar. Then after that, I really want to leave people with some great, great tools that they can go home and use at home to move through storms, to get
Mm-hmm.
out of stress, to bring their body back into calm, peace, and parasympathetic. So I'll be leaving people with different tools, techniques, and different things they can kind of take home and do themselves to feel
Okay.
better.
Sounds amazing. I appreciate you giving us the time. How can everybody find you on all social medias platforms?
Yeah, so you can find me at Elizabeth spelled with an S, I Carson on Instagram. You can find me at Elizabeth Unlimited on YouTube. And guys, my name is spelled with an S, not Z. That's why a lot of people can't find me. So,
Well,
yes, and
your name's gonna get big enough, continue to grow, and so. But go ahead, finish your thought.
yes, just I wanted to invite people to join my community on school. It's an ever growing community that I do. We are doing a global meditation challenge in there for the next seven
Mm,
days. And,
okay.
they win prizes, you get first offers and discounts on anything that I'm doing. And what I love about my community is that people engage with each other, just like I want my events to be. I want people to help each other. It's so much peace and
Mm-hmm.
love within that community. It warms my heart literally every day because there's support not coming only from me, but the other community members. I mean,
Mm,
someone will post a
mm-hmm.
problem and you'll see tons of comments like, here, maybe you should do this, or sending love your way. This is how I really want to integrate this community into real life, right? So that's why
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to grow this as big as I possibly can, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's what life is about: helping each other, inspiring each other, and pulling people up when they're feeling down. That's what
Yeah.
I feel like is important.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. This was an amazing conversation, and good luck. I know you're in the midst of a storm, and you're still out here trying to bless and engage with folks, and so and I got a feeling that's probably kind of helping you, probably staying out in the community. Yeah, to
No,
keep
it
moving.
definitely is. I'm so grateful for the people. That's really what has kept me going, is
Yeah.
having this community of great people that are on this healing journey, intentional healing journey along with me. So
We appreciate you. This has been Life on Circle Radio. My guest has been Elisabeth Carson. We'll catch you guys next time.